For my final video reflection, I want to try to briefly touch on some of the projects that we've done and give a little bit of feedback. This might serve as a parallel to the portfolio and will reaffirm some of the things stated in it, but this class has definitely been unusual for me because although I like to think of myself as a creative person, I wouldn't say that I'm wildly tech savvy. So not only learning the basics of a new language, but several new programs really help to broaden my horizons, if you will. The general theme that's woven through essentially every project is the utilization of a new medium, and although some were reused, particularly with the reflections, it all kind of culminated with the final video essay, which pretty much summed up everything that we've done with Camtasia. The reason why everything culminated with the video essay was that primarily throughout the playlists and the subsequent reflections and revisions, we were basically trying to figure out how to chop and screw different clips and videos with Camtasia in order to make our point, whereas for the video essay, by this point in the semester, as you can see here, we've pretty much come to a point where we can layer on multiple effects and clips in order to really be able to create a visually stimulating argument as such. This was a bet against a market that was assured that housing prices would never go down. But default they did, big time. In many cases, in reading the fine print, if even one person defaulted on their mortgage out of a CDO comprising 1,000 loans, the entire thing would collapse. The mashup used a very similar concept in that we were aiming to manipulate two different sources into a single project, but where it differed from everything else was that we were confined to the two sources that we had. So whereas in one project, like for example, the final video essay, we were unbound in everything that we could use, everything that we could include, and everything that we wanted to say. Here we were bound to pretty much the trailer and the actual movie, which we could cut up. So one of the difficulties here was matching up characters' voices with the voiceover from the trailer, for example.
He's hiding something, and we need to find out what that is. We gotta break out of here. Give him the kick!
Out of all of our projects this semester, this one was probably the most fun and the most enjoyable one for me to work with because of the music, which, even though it sounds a little bit strange, added another layer of complexity to it that we kind of had to play along with. Whereas on the other hand, the Instagrams were slightly more difficult to work with because we had to get a message across within 15 seconds. This medium presented an entirely new challenge in that it had to not only be extremely concise, but effective in an academic setting, which is something that is widely lacking in the Vine Instagram community. In the audio essay project, we had the opportunity to work with yet another medium, and even though Audacity was slightly less user-friendly than Camtasia because of all the intricacies in adjusting different sound volumes when overlapping various clips, it did give us the opportunity to really cut down and refine our final product when focusing in on and dealing pretty much with just audio files instead of various layers of video, photo, effects, and audio. This common theme carries on throughout the entire class because although there were direct mediums that we were explicitly told to use, some indirect ones, like my first use of Photoshop to create the end scene in my mashup, were also extremely beneficial. So, whether it's piecing together clips in Camtasia, manipulating the end credits in my mashup, or even embedding codes into my playlist or portfolio, this class has thrown convention out the window and established a new criteria for methods of communication, which, for me, was both a very refreshing and pleasantly challenging experience.